Today is the 8th of the June 2023, and I want us to have a look at solving mathematical equations using Bidmas or Bodmas. In our previous lesson, we've looked at mathematical symbols, and we've looked at guess how they work. So I want to take us a little bit further to show you how to use Bodmas and Bidmas, because you need to apply this when you are solving some equations, and I will show you. Now, Bodmas represents, the B represents brackets, and then the O represents off, the D represents division, M multiplication, A addition, S subtraction. Bidmas is similar, is actually the same. It's just that the O has been exchanged with I, so the B is still brackets, I is indices. Yesterday we look at indices, so something like 2 to the power 2 is 2 times 2, which is 4. If you want a revision, just have a quick look. The videos are short videos, so you'll be able to catch up. D is division, M is multiplication, A is addition, and S is subtraction. So if you have a look at this, division will have a higher precedence than subtraction. So if you have a question that has division and subtraction, you have to solve the division part first before you do the subtraction. I will do an example with you for you to understand. And if you have an equation that has brackets and addition, you do the bracket part first. Whatever the answer is, then you do the addition part. Okay, you don't do the addition before you do the brackets. You do it in the order I have written it out. So if you have equations with a couple of these symbols, it's better you guess right on the side of the equation Bidmas and or Bodmas, and these are easy to remember. You just use the first word. So the first word is brackets, the second is indices. If it's Bodmas, it's off, D is the division, M is the multiplication, A is addition, and then you have subtraction. I'm quickly going to show you a quick example I've done here. So let's have a look at the brackets here. So you have brackets. I'm trying to solve the equation 10 add 2 divided by 4. Now the brackets, as I've already shown you, has a higher precedence. So you are going to solve this part first before you do the division bit. So the bracket B says 10 add 2, which is 12. and then divide by 4, which is 12 divided by 4, which is 3. Assuming there was no bracket, then you might have to do the division part first before you do the addition, but the bracket tells you which one to do first, and it has the highest precedence. Now if you look at Bidmas, the next one is indices. So if you look at this equation, you are going to do the indices part first before you do the subtraction. Otherwise, you'll not be able to solve it. So the indices part is 3 to the power 2, which is 3 times 3, which is a 9. Then minus 2. So you have 9 minus 2, and it's 7. Off is 3 off 2, add 3. Off is similar to multiplication. So 3 off 2 is 6. Then you add 3, which is 9. In case it is Bodmas. So when you see off, you use Bodmas. And when you see an indices, then you use like a 3 to the power 2, 2 to the power 3, 4 to the power 3. Then you are going to use Bidmas. The next one is division. So if you have a look at this equation, this equation here, you have 4 times 10 divided by 2. Then you need to do the division part first, which is 10 divided by 2, and it will give you a 5. Then you times by 4, which is a 20. Multiplication, you do the multiplication part first before you do the subtraction, because multiplication has a higher precedence than subtraction if you use Bidmas or Bodmas. So 4 times 3 is 12, minus 2 is 10. Addition or subtraction. So we will do the addition part piece because the addition part. So 4 times 3 is 7, and then minus 2 is 5. If you do the minus bit first, you get a different answer, which will be wrong. So if you have equations with different symbols, as I'm showing you here, then it's better to use Bidmas or Bodmas. Now, another thing, I would like to solve a few equations with you today. So, the first thing I'd like to solve with you is 4 at 5 times 3. So you don't read right to left or left to right. You need to look at the equation, and with your knowledge of Bodmas or Bidmas, you are going to apply. So here you use Bodmas or Bidmas order, and As you can see, multiplication has a higher precedence than addition. So multiplication has a higher precedence than addition. So your first step will be 5 times 3, which will be equal to 15. Then you add 4, which will give you 19. If you do the addition part before you do the multiplication part, it is going to be wrong. It will give you a different answer, and that will be wrong. The next example I'm going to show you today is 6 divided by 4 minus 8 divided by 2. So as we have seen, subtraction has a lower precedence. So we will solve that last, but we'll have a look at the division bits. So first of all, 16 divided by 4 is 4. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So now we bring both sides together. So 4 minus 4 equals 0. So we do the subtraction first before we do the division. As we build on daily basis, these are short videos, so you should be able to watch them over and over again, a maximum of 15 minutes. So you'll be able to, and because I'm trying to build your knowledge from the simple aspect of math, and gradually I'll walk you through to the complex aspect. So if you're a foundation learner at this time, you should be able to understand some of this. But if you are a higher learner, gradually you need to know all this. But when we get to towards the end of the syllabus, I'm going to give you the difficult questions and solve them for you. I'm not here to I'm not trying to give you everything. I assume you've learned this at school. So here I'm just trying to explain it a bit more so that you can understand and maybe solve questions for you so that you can learn them and apply it to what you've learned in class, so that when you get to the to your exams, you'll be prepared. So any question that is thrown at you, you'll be able to say that, oh, because of Bodmas, I'm going to solve it this way. This is the rationale I'm going to use to solve it, so that you can get the right answers. Thank you for watching, and see you next lesson.